Sagittarius, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for September 5th through the 11th, 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link down below because the signs are different. All right, so Sagittarius, this week we have a sort of split week. The first half has the collectively easy aspects, and this is seen by the Sun trining Pluto, Tuesday and Wednesday, Venus sextiling up to Saturn. And we also are going to be in the early phases of this solar eclipse cycle. Just had a solar eclipse last week in your 9th house, helping you make positive changes now to expand your horizons, to tap into your philosophy, your worldview, opening your mind to possibilities and potentials, maybe to literally expand your horizons through travel or adventure, these kinds of matters. It's the time now, as it has been this year, to put that energy into it, into this area of your life. And with the eclipse, it was transformational. It's a new beginning here. So this week, this first half of the week in particular, it's great to be moving these things forward if you've had any new intentions or any new insights relating to this more expansive part of the chart. All right, so that's supportive too, in the sense that we're in the early phases of it, which is usually about trying new things, being adaptive, and seeing where things take you. Then as we go into the second half, we do have the collectively challenging aspects, particularly with Saturn squaring up to Neptune, which I've been talking a lot about this year. It's been perhaps the most important aspect happening collectively this year. And this has been the uncertainty, confusion, and doubt when we project into the future, when we try to have things figured out. Because although it's a time for you to be open-minded, it's about that. It's about opening your mind with presence and open to possibilities and potentials without labeling them, without projecting onto them. And with Saturn this year, for about the past year, off and on, Saturn's been in your 12th house, helping you build and constructively implement your spiritual development, or maybe even your psychological development. Okay, and this is an area of challenge for you where you can challenge yourself. Maybe it's getting in contact, with a counselor or someone you can talk to get in contact with your deeper spiritual self, your psychological self. Maybe it's doing things like meditation or yoga or spiritual teachings that can help you have more acceptance and tranquility and really surrender. Surrender to the divine process or to God, or however you see that. So with Saturn, it's good to take the responsibility, realize that it's a good time to challenge yourself when it comes to your spiritual development, your psychological development, and the more open you are to that and building it constructively, the better. And that's working in alignment with this time period. Now, in terms of Neptune, there's been perhaps some old patterns about the mind, especially with the South Node being released. Okay, the third house is about the mind, wanting things understood, particularly, the immediate environment. It's also community and peers and things like that. So anything that has to do with exchanging, sharing, learning, reading, writing, communicating. There's some old patterns here, some unhealthy patterns maybe from the past. And so the key is to be, first of all, aware of these patterns and then to accept them. And it's really the acceptance of them that allows them to naturally go. And that's what the South Node is that these older energies are being released so that you can cultivate this more open-minded, possible and potential area. But what's being released is more of the definitive, the contextual, the rational mind, And so obviously we can't have one without the other, but it's not that you're letting go of the rational mind itself. There's just some things relating to it that might be taken to an extreme or imbalanced. And as you bring balance to that, it then serves as the foundation for that open-mindedness, potential, possibility, and adventurous spirit there. But with Neptune in particular, it does take surrender, it does take acceptance. And this is acceptance both when it comes to those potentials like I was talking about, and then also when it comes to the spiritual development. And that's the T-square that we're working with here with this solar eclipse. So collectively not easy, but as you approach it with a willingness to challenge yourself, to grow, to develop in those key areas, then that's an excellent way of working with this week in particular. All right, so that's the challenging sort of weekend there. Let's go ahead and keep talking about the weekend since we're on point. Then I'll talk about this early part of the week. So Venus is going to be squaring up to Pluto over the weekend as well, suggesting that there is maybe some deep changes occurring here over the weekend. Some of it might have to do with your routine or your work, maybe your career. So it's good to be as present as you can with this also. And really with Pluto is to detach from any, specific things that we might want. Pluto's like the ego killer. If we get too attached, too fixed, too controlling about those key areas there, maybe even too with networks or friends or group things, then it can create clash. It can create unhealthy intensity. So this is about self-awareness here, patience, right? Doing the right thing, and releasing these older patterns that might be coming to the forefront relating to these areas, your work, your career, or maybe those network circles. All right, so that's the weekend. Also over the weekend, Mercury retrograde is going to go back into your 9th house, so it's a good weekend to reconsider some of these possibilities and potentials. All right, and this will take you into next week to rework, rethink about how important it is to have a healthy belief system, to have open-mindedness, to have adventure and inspiration, and to follow that life path, which is really pulling you there to learn more about it. All right, so we kind of jumped the gun there. We're talking about the weekend, and it is, the most important part of the week because of the Saturn squaring Neptune. But leading up to that, we do have some collectively easy aspects. The Sun will be trining up to Pluto Tuesday and Wednesday, giving you positive energy here into the aspirations, into these possibilities and potentials, maybe to make some positive change. And so that's a good way to work with the first half, is see how you can set a sort of foundation within yourself of being willing to make change, to be open to change with these potentials, possibilities, and that open horizon. And that can be an excellent way of working with this early part. Also, Saturn will be sextiling up to Venus. So with this one, there could be some positive energy going into the career, the early part. Maybe with those network circles, maybe with the work. It's just an opening, it's a sextile, but it's certainly available. And so it could be productive, it could be enjoyably productive, or maybe there's some relationships or values coming in through the workspace, that kind of a thing. All right, so good opportunities there. And let's look at the fact that Jupiter has recently shifted into your 10th house, will be here for the next year and a half, which is about potentials and opportunities for you to connect to your career and to develop productively and to create that legacy. And really, it's not always for profit, it's just the things you want to build, the things you want to leave behind in this life. All right, so that's the week in a nutshell. Definitely a strong emphasis on the fact that we're in this solar eclipse, which is transforming and changing your potentials, your belief system, helping you open your mind. To do that, it does require this challenge, or at least challenging yourself here to connect with your beingness, with your spiritual self. And that may take some work, might take some responsibility there. And also to let go of some old patterns, some old thinking patterns, some old things about rationality or immediate things in your environment might be holding you back. And through that, it then helps you have a foundation to expand your horizons without going too far, right? This is about having both practical and possible merged into one. All right, so Sagittarius, have a great week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next week.